Hey guys, welcome back to Barry's Corner. It's Emily here, and today I'm going to be showing you guys all the popular books that you guys love and I hate. Okay, maybe hate is the wrong word. A lot of these I don't hate, I just really dislike or I've been really disappointed by. There are a couple books that I just flat out hate, like hate, but hate is a strong word. So most of these I was just disappointed by, gave it 3 stars, which is not a bad rating, but I was expecting way more from them. And also, my hair is wet. I just came out of the shower, but I do have to go to work and I do have to film. So please bear with me because I know I look a little bit crazy right now. But before I show you these books, please subscribe, please comment down below and like this video. All of my social links are down in the description box below, as well as my Amazon wishlist if you would like to give me a book. Now let's get on into the video. Oh, and before anybody comments, I'm not attacking you if you love these books. I know these are very popular, and I know that even though I didn't like them, doesn't mean that you don't like them. I am definitely the odd one out on most of these books, so take my, I guess, recommendation or my feelings with a grain of salt. But the first book is Scythe by Neal Shusterman. This book, I'm not gonna lie to you, I read this a while ago. I read it for the reading rush back when it was Booktubeathon. I think the last time it was ever called Booktubeathon. And this is basically about a world, a utopian world where basically you can't die unless a scythe gleans you. So you could be like 100 and then like turn a page or turn a life, I don't know what it's called, and you can be back to 25 and you could just continue living your life until a scythe gleans you. And like you could jump off a building and you won't die. So it's like a whole thing. It's a really cool concept, and I do think that the world is built very well. The world building is absolutely insane, and I, again, love the concept. I just think Neal Shusterman's writing as a whole just is not for me. It does not mesh well with me. One thing about this book that everybody, even people that love this book, like can recognize is that the romance is horrible. Neal Shusterman does not know how to write a romance. Like, what's her name? Citra and Rowan? No. Neal Shusterman did not need to write them as a couple, and the book would have been just as good. I think for me, I've read Dry by Neal Shusterman, which is another book by him, and the book was very underwhelming, and this book was very underwhelming to me, just as a whole. Like, I love the concepts, and I love the world building and the characters, but the whole book, both this and Dry, were very underwhelming. And it was because of the way Neal writes. And that's just a personal thing. I did not like it. I give it a 3 stars. I don't hate it. I just don't really like it. I did get the toll because I read Thunderhead by Neal Shusterman around the same time. And it was better, but I still didn't like it. But I'm still going to continue on with the toll because I literally read the first 2 books in the series. So I have to read the third. The next book is Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. This book, I was expecting so much because it was such a hyped book. It still is a hyped book. But I read this and I was thoroughly disappointed. It's basically about a girl named Chloe Brown, and she has fibromyalgia, and basically she has a near-death experience, not from her condition, but after that near-death experience. But she's like, dude, because of my condition, I have no life. I don't have friends. I live with my parents. What is wrong with me? And so she creates a bucket list, and she kind of recruits this guy named Red, who is not the owner, but like I guess the handyman of her new apartment that she just bought, and she also doesn't like him. She recruits him to help her finish the bucket list. This book, I did see the connection between her and Red. I did like the whole thing. Not the whole thing, like the whole relationship aspect, but I feel like, I don't know, the book as a whole, again, was just very underwhelming. I feel like, I don't know, I just didn't mesh well with the character, and I just didn't mesh well with the writing and how it kind of started off, and honestly the ending. I don't know, something about this book was just very underwhelming, and I liked the romance, but I don't think it was the best romance I've ever seen or read. I don't know if that makes any sense. I don't think I could really give you an explanation on why. Like, I don't know why. I just didn't like it. It was very underwhelming to me, and that kind of is such a bad explanation, but it was so disappointing. I gave this book a 3 stars, and I don't know if I would read it again. I did read Dani Brown, and I loved Dani Brown. I gave it a 4 stars, and I'm about to read Eve Brown this month, so hopefully I like Eve Brown, but Chloe Brown, very disappointing. The next book, I did not like, but I wouldn't really say it was a disappointment because I don't think a lot of people hyped it up for me. But I did expect to like it. I don't know. Paper Towns by John Green. I read The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, and oh my gosh, my soul was crushed. I was like, oh my goodness, John Green's writing, beautiful, the characters, stunning. And then I go to Paper Towns, especially since this is a movie. It's basically about this guy named Quentin, and he loves this girl named Margot, but he's never, like, he's met her, but they, like, it's from afar. And then she goes missing, and he believes that he needs to find her. And honestly, the whole book is kind of frustrating. I don't like the writing in this novel compared to The Fault in Our Stars. I was really let down. I felt like it was a bit too young. I don't know. I felt like his writing was a little bit young. And yes, this is YA, but so was The Fault in Our Stars. So it's like, I don't know. Quentin was so annoying. Like, I feel like, I don't know if this is a mystery novel, but it's definitely not, like, I don't know, suspenseful. There was this random thing at the beginning, I think, where they saw this guy die. Not, like, just randomly on the street. I think he was homeless or something. And I don't know why that was even there. I guess it was there to show, like, the bond they had because they saw it together when they were kids. Like, what? I don't know. It wasn't good. I didn't like the writing. The ending was so stupid. Like, there was... No! Like, it was so bad. I think I gave this a 2 stars. I give this a 2 stars. I didn't enjoy it. It just wasn't for me. I don't understand how people like this book. Don't read it. Like, truly, I don't understand how people like this book. I haven't seen the movie, but I think I will because I want to compare it. This next book is kind of what inspired this whole video. I think I did a video like this a while ago, and this book was definitely in it. We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. I understand why people like it, but I just see it a whole completely different way. Like, I really do. Okay, basically, the synopsis is very, very vague, and I believe that's the best way going into it. It's basically about a girl, kind of confused. She has some memory loss, and she's trying to figure out what happened to her, like, a couple summers ago, and nobody will tell her. So it's summertime, and she's going back to this island that she spends with family and family friends, and the whole time she's basically trying to figure out what happened a couple of summers ago. And honestly, okay, a lot of people that don't really like this book say that the big, amazing twist didn't make up for the boring beginning, and I somewhat agree with that. I think the whole book, since it is very vague, and we, along with the main character, are trying to figure out what's going on, I think it makes sense. I think it makes sense that we're left in the dark, and I do think the boring beginning, or, like, entire book, isn't boring. I just think it's a bit average. Like, it is entertaining. I still kept reading because I didn't feel bored, but I do think it was just an average book, you know what I'm saying, before the twist. Then the twist comes, and I'm like, holy crap, what just happened? The twist is crazy, I can't admit that, but while everybody else was like, oh my gosh, that twist is amazing, I love this book, I was like, holy crap, that twist was amazing, but I'm so frustrated with this book because the twist was insane. It was crazy. I did not expect it whatsoever. But it made me mad. Like, the twist was frustrating to me. Like, the whole book, that was what we were, like, getting up to. Like, that was, like, how... Wow. Like, I can't really explain why it really frustrated me unless I give you a spoiler. But it was just frustrating to me. I don't think it made up for the whole book. I just don't see it. Also, I don't understand why people say they cry in this novel. A lot of people say that they cry. And I'm like... where are you getting that from? The twist is insane, don't get me wrong, but crying? Like, what are you crying at? I don't see the crying point. So, I think I gave this a 3 stars, maybe even lower. I didn't like it. I gave it to my boyfriend. He gave it a 4 stars. He did think the twist was crazy, but I don't know. It wasn't for me. Now, when I say hate, this is the book I'm talking about. Capital the whole word. H-A-T-E. I hate this book. Like, it's Imagine Me by Tahira Mafi. If you guys have followed me for a little bit or have just seen any of my other videos, you know that the Shatter Me series is one of my favorite series of all time. And I don't think this book in particular is the most popular book on BookTube, but the Shatter Me series definitely is. And this is a warning to you. If you've read the first 3 books, do not continue. And if you're scared that I'm showing you this book, please read the first 3 books. I love them so much. But Imagine Me really pissed me off. Juliet, okay. I'm sorry, I'm getting heated, guys. Like, I am getting very much heated because of this book. My favorite thing about the Shatter Me series is the character relationships, the character dynamic, friendship dynamic. All of it is so good and beautiful, and I love seeing them together. Juliet and Warner, Juliet and Kenji, all of it is so amazing and nice, and is my definite favorite part of the series. In Imagine Me, Juliet was away from everybody for the whole entire book. And that's so disappointing to say because this is the last book. Like, I want to see them together. Like, why was she not with everybody? And not only was she not with everybody, but she wasn't even in her own mind. She was not Juliet at all throughout the whole entire book. It's so frustrating because, like, we not only didn't get to see her interact with anybody else, but didn't even get to be herself. Like, it was so frustrating. We basically got nothing. And everything that Tahamafi was building up from, like, the second book, like, James being the brother of, like, we've been waiting for James to find that out since the second book, and it was finally revealed in this book. It was like he didn't even care. Like, why was it built up if he wasn't even gonna care? Like, so many different things. Kenji's relationship with this other person, like a wedding that happened. Like, why did you build it up? It was so frustrating. This story was complete. Everything, all the loose ends were tied and it was complete, but it was definitely not satisfying and not the ending that me, a fan from middle school, wanted, because it was just so disappointing. I hate this book. 0 stars. I'm so mad at it. The second to last book is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. This book. Okay, honestly, a lot of you guys I think are going to be a little bit confused because I gave this a 4 stars when I originally read this. I read this with a couple of people on Bookstagram, and I read it and it was like, okay, it was fine. I don't really know why there's such big hype over it, and I gave it a 4 stars. But then, after reading A Court of Mist and Fury, I was like, no way. This is not a 4 stars. This is a 3 stars. What came over me to give this a 4 stars? I don't know, but it's definitely a 3 stars, and it definitely was really disappointing because of all the hype that was surrounding this series. I think, okay, the thing is, this basically is about a girl named Feyre, and she kills a fairy in the forest, and this guy named Tamlin, which is one of the High Fae, comes and is like, hey, you have to basically, I'm about to kill you, or you have to live the rest of your life out in Prythian, which is the fairy world. And so when she got to Prythian, like, she was like, what am I going to do? Am I going to be your slave? And he's like, no, you could do whatever you want. You could stay here, do nothing, or go out into the rest of the fairy world, but you're going to get eaten. So basically she had to stay there, but she didn't do anything. There was no action, there was no nothing. I think there was only one time where there was like some huge tension built up. And I was like, ooh, tea. And I liked that part, but aside from the ending where there was finally action and her doing these trials for Tamlin, the rest of the book was so underwhelming. There was no action going on, and I guess there was character development, but like, not really. Like, nothing really happened. And so I was like, okay, what is the point of this book at all? And then you get into A Court of Mist and Fury, which I read because of the ending of this book. And when Rhys comes into the picture and you realize that, oh, like, the reason that Rhys is there and like the comparison because Tamlin didn't really let her do anything, it made sense why there wasn't a lot of action in this book. But then again, like, this is the first book. I want to have action in it. So like, I don't know how to even explain it. So it makes sense why it was like this, but at the same time, I can't forgive it because it was such an average book. Series. Very disappointed in this book, but I do think it's worth a read if you want to get into it. Now, the last book, I think, is going to come as a bit of a surprise for a lot of you, especially since it was in my Enemies to Lovers recommendation video, which a lot of you guys enjoyed, so thank you guys for watching that video. But it's The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. The reason I put this in the recommendation video was so you guys could get to The Queen of Nothing, which is the third book in the series, which I love with my whole heart, but you can't really get to The Queen of Nothing without reading this first, so I put it in the recommendation video. But the first book as a whole, I didn't really enjoy. It was very disappointing. It was very disappointing, especially with all of the hype surrounding it. I was like, okay, let's go into this Fae book and let's see if I like it. I do have a reading vlog out for this if you want to check it out. It is on my channel. But basically it's about a girl and her parents were killed by fairies, and that same fairy took her to the land of fairy, and everybody basically hates her because she's a human. And she also wants to become a part of the fairy court, which is kind of impossible because she's a human. There's a lot of the political aspect which takes the forefront of this story, and as I said before, that is not my favorite thing in fantasy books. I feel like they were also trying to push this Jude and Cardan thing out into the world and for the audience to love, but it is such a slow burn to the point of there was barely anything to burn in the first book. And so I felt like, I don't know, I just didn't like it. The political aspect was very much there, and a lot of people love this book because of that, but that's just not my favorite thing. Again, like I said before, I do like balance, and I also found Jude very annoying in this first book. I don't know why, but she was a bit annoying, and also I think whenever she was fighting, she'd always tell everybody, I'm such a great fighter, but we never really got to see her fight except for one time, and honestly it was so short and like there was no point to it. So I didn't really enjoy this book. I gave it 3 stars. Like, it was fine, but the ending was what made me continue, because the plot twist. Holly Black knows how to write a plot twist, especially at the end. Like, it was a plot twist on top of a plot twist on top of a plot twist, bro. And I think honestly this book, or The Wicked King's plot twist, was the biggest one of the series. It was so good. So if my opinion is scaring you a little bit because the political aspect isn't your favorite thing, please continue on with the series, because I really, really, really like The Wicked King, but The Queen of Nothing is everything. So those are all the popular books that you guys love and I hate, or not hate, but dislike and were very disappointed in. But take my opinion with a grain of salt if any of these sound really good to you. Again, they are very popular, so I think I'm the odd one out when saying I don't like them. So you guys very much might like it. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and comment down below and do whatever you want to do, and goodbye.